Hey guys, what's going on? It's Blayde again from Car Audio Security, and today we're looking at 3 Kenwood reverse cameras. So, reverse cameras we've got here, we've got the Kenwood CMOS 130, the CMOS 230 and the CMOS 320. So the 3 ranges of Kenwood cameras that they supply. The CMOS 130 being the most affordable, the CMOS 230 being their mid-range option, very good quality, and then the CMOS 320 is a similar quality to the 230 but with multi-view angles. So we'll go through it in depth in a second, but let's start off with the CMOS 130. So the CMOS 130, as I've said, this is their most affordable reverse camera option. This will work with any Kenwood doubled in screen, even could be another brand if you really wanted to, but they're designed to work with the Kenwoods. Now these are waterproof and high quality reversing cameras mounted to the rear of the vehicle externally. This is going to give you roughly 380,000 pixels of image with a 1/4 inch CMOS sensor. So as I've said, this is the most affordable option. It's going to have the smaller sensor available than the other 2 cameras, but it's still going to give you a good quality image for reversing and also pretty good at night time. So moving on from the CMOS 130, we'll go to the 230. So the 230 is the step up from before. So this is basically, it looks exactly the same camera-wise, but this gives you much better quality. So this has a larger CMOS sensor, 1 and 3.6 inch CMOS sensor. So the larger sensor is going to be more sensitive. It's going to pick up lower light situations, so it's going to be much better at night time. And also just in general, daytime imaging is going to be pretty good. Now, you may spot on the actual specs of this, this actually has a less number of effective pixels, 330,000 pixels. But because the sensor is larger, it actually works out as better quality. As I've said, these are both waterproof, they're mounted to the rear of the vehicle and they all have a wide field of view. I believe it's roughly 100. Now moving on to the CMOS 320, the top of the range reversing camera that we have here. This is basically the same camera as the 230 but with multi-view capability. So essentially what it is the camera and then you have a button. So this button allows you to switch between different views. So this will have ultra wide view, an overhead view to look down, and a corner view to see out of one particular corner or the other. So if you're using like a bigger vehicle or you'd need extra help in reversing and you'd like the ability to switch views, this is very, very handy. This is going to give you the best possible options for multiple views on a reversing camera. So this still has the same CMOS sensor built in as the 230, so the 1 and 3.6 inch CMOS sensor with the 330,000 pixels. So yeah, basically the same camera, this being the multi-view version. So what we'll do now is we'll power these up, we'll show you how they work, going from the entry level to the higher end, and then basically it shows you how each one of them performs in low light and high light situations, and then we'll also show you how the multi-view works on the 320. Now before I get into that, just bear in mind that there is one more camera that Kenwood supply available in the UK, which is the CMOS 740 HD. Now that is basically their HD quality camera. So if you're running the big 10-inch screen, so there's 9720 XDS or their 9190 HD screen, then you may want to purchase their HD camera. But if you don't have an HD screen, there's really no need to buy an HD camera. So let's get these powered on. Okay, so I've got the CMOS 130 connected here. So as you can probably see in the screen, I'm here. So this is in a room, obviously this is not during daytime outside. So obviously just bear in mind that the image might be slightly different. But I think for just a reversing camera, it's good enough quality and not too bad at all, to be honest. Obviously the camera itself is a nice size. It comes with a bracket, so you can either screw the bracket on, and it does come with a sticky pad if you do just want to stick it on. So what we'll do now is we'll test it at low light. So we're going to turn the studio lights off here, and then we're just going to see how it performs at low light. Okay, so this is it in low light situation, so hopefully you should still be able to see me still. Obviously, this is still in a room, so bear in mind that obviously at night time, when you put your car into reverse, you do have a reverse light, which kind of illuminates the area slightly. But obviously, if it's completely pitch black outside, you probably won't be able to see a lot. So that's the CMOS 130 tested. So let's test the CMOS 230. Okay, so this is the CMOS 230 connected up. So during the daytime, there's probably not going to be a huge difference in quality, but at night time, you should be able to see a considerable difference. So if we turn the studio lights off now, we'll test that. Okay, so we've turned the studio lights off now. We've just got a little backlight here. So you should be able to see on the picture. Let's have a look. Yeah, so still pretty good, to be honest. Okay, so we've turned off all the studio lights now. All we've got is a door at the background open slightly just to give a little light to my face, and you should still be able to see me relatively clearly. So that larger sensor does make a difference. I don't know if you can actually see me, but you should be able to see me on here. But yeah, that reversing camera is pretty good quality, to be honest. Okay, so we've wired in the CMOS 320 now. So obviously this has the controller and then the camera. So I'm going to have the camera planted on the top of the stereo here just so you can see the difference between the views. So we have the button here. So obviously you'd run this to the front of the vehicle, easily accessible for you if you do need to press it. So it's currently on its standard view. If you then push a button, it's going to go to wide view. And then you push a button again, you'll go to top down view. Obviously, in the studio here, looking at me, it's probably not going to show you very well the top down, but when it's on a vehicle, it makes sense and it works quite well. And then you've got the corner views. So nice and easy switchable, it's just a click of a button. And quality, again, is fantastic. Obviously, there's no real need for me to show the low light because it's going to be the same as the CMOS 230, but obviously with the benefit of the switchable button. Okay, now what I thought I'd do is just show you what comes in the box with the cameras and what the differences will be between them. So if we start with the CMOS 130, it's a very basic, as you can see, it doesn't come in a box like the other two, it just comes in a plastic bag. Essentially what you get with that is the camera itself with your RCA connection, which is the basic video input to the stereo. And then you get the bare end wires, basically you're live in your earth, essentially. You've got also a ring fuse, so basically you just cut that and then put that fuse in there just to protect the circuit. So you can basically wire that in line. But basically what you're going to need to do with this is purchase yourself an extension RCA to plug into here, because this is a female. So it's a female RCA, so you need to just basically purchase say a 5-meter RCA to run through the inside of the vehicle and then plug into the back of the head unit. What you can do at this end is, for the power, you can take your power from your reverse light, or you can run this all the way up to the head unit and take power from the ignition live from your stereo. So basically, if you do it from the reverse light, it means that the camera will only turn on when the reverse light turns on. If you take it from the head unit, it means it's always on. So if you do want to click camera view on your head unit, then it will always be available to you even though you're not in reverse. So that's what we like to do. You will also get the instructions, and you get a blanking plate for it as well, and the screws to mount the bracket. Now obviously, all of these cameras have the same bracket on the bottom of them. They are basically a tiltable bracket, so you can unscrew these side screws, you can make the bracket sit further away, you can tilt the camera, and then fix it back into place. Okay, moving on to the CMOS 230. You do get a little bit more in the box. So with this, obviously you do have the camera itself. Now, rather than it ending on an actual RCA connection, it has a specific plug. Now that specific plug will plug into this loom, and then this loom will run itself to the front of the vehicle or wherever it needs to plug into. So you have the connection for that plug there, and then you have your RCA to run to the back of your head unit for the video input, and then you have your live and your earth. It's a very, very simple installation. It basically just needs 12 volts and an earth and then the video. That's essentially it. This comes with an inline fuse already in it, but this is one whole cable. So you don't need to buy any extras with this. It's basically buy this and fit it, done. Same with the other camera, you get the blanking plate and the screw to mount the bracket, and then obviously instructions in the box. Now bear in mind with all of these cameras, if you're using it on an aftermarket head unit, which most of the time you will be, you will need some sort of switch going to the head unit. So on the back of an aftermarket head unit, let's say this Kenwood here, you'll have this purple wire. Now it's not always the same on every head unit. You'll have this purple wire which is labelled reverse to switch into a reverse camera view when you put the vehicle into reverse. So if you're using a CAN bus module, so an adapter for your vehicle, that your vehicle is CAN bus, and most of these CAN bus modules will have a particular reverse wire which is usually purple. Okay, and then lastly we've got the CMOS 320. So widely similar to the 230, you get the main loom here and your camera is connected through the specific plug that goes into that loom. Now the only difference being is with the button, this is basically connected, it's very simple, it's labelled for you. You've got cam plus and cam negative. You're basically just pushing that into the cam negative and cam plus that's labelled on that loom. Very, very simple. Again, it comes with all the extension wires you need. You don't need to buy anything separate. It's already fused and ready to go. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. That was the overview of our 3 cameras by Kenwood, the CMOS 130, the 230 and the 320. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, there is one more, which is the 740 HD, but that's only really for HD specific screens. So that's pretty much it for me. I hope you liked the video. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. And if there's any other videos you want us to put on the channel, make sure you drop it in the comments below. But I will see you in the next video.